This is Madison Hebbard for Farming Australia.
Today, Remembrance Day 2018. I am travelling with Queensland Pioneer Steam Railway to Bundamba Racecourse Station in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, to board a heritage troop train hauled by a steam locomotive that operated during the First World War. Travelling the tracks to Swanbank Heritage Train Station, the Queensland Pioneers Steam Railway commemorates 100 years since the announcement of peace and pay respect to the servicemen and women who departed by train and sacrificed their lives during the First World War. Importantly, there are three highly significant dates of peace. The 11th of November 1918, fighting ceased and no more lives were lost thereafter. June 28, 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was officially signed outside of Paris, France, in the Palace of Versailles. The treaty was one of several that officially ended 5 years of conflict, known as the Great War, World War I. It wasn't until the 10th of January 1920 when the Treaty of Versailles actually came into effect. The Remembrance Weekend includes a rare sight of the transfer of light horse by carriage and their riders as it was 100 years ago. Travel back in time with me by steam train to see the reenactment, memorabilia, heritage machinery and vehicles, wartime entertainment, the Red Cross nurses and the light horse.
It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there.
We're here on Remembrance Day, right here with Rob. Now, Rob, can you please tell us a little bit about exactly your title and what you actually do with the trains here at the station?
So I'm the chairman of the Queensland Pioneer Steam Railway. I also am one of the chief maintainers, and I sort of go around doing a bit of everything around the railway.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit about this station? How old and what is the name of the station we're at now?
So this is Swanbank Station. It was formerly Forest Hill on the old Toowoomba line, and the building is 115 years old this year, so
Wow.
just celebrated.
So could you tell me, when you say the old Toowoomba line, did they use this line during the war at all, or how old is this line?
So the station would have been used during the war years. This branch line is the oldest in Queensland, having been built in 1887. However, that line didn't carry as many troops as some of the other lines. So in the old days, it would have mainly been the country stations out west. So anything heading out past Longreach, anything heading out past Toowoomba, they'd pick up from.
So could you tell me, in that case, is this one of the lines where a lot of the farming men brought their horses or rode their horses to the station and then put them onto the trains to get to the ships to go to war?
Well, it's indicative of it. We don't know whether it happened on this branch line itself, but on many of the branch lines, many of the soldiers that went off to war and the farmers who brought their horses that would become their steeds in war, they would go to the local railway station, ride in there from all the way out of their properties, and then the train would take them the last little bit out to the ships that would send them off to war.
Okay, so in saying that, back then the train was one of the main sources of actual transport in Australia.
It was pretty much the only source apart from the horse. So in many ways, it was a way of making sure that the the horses didn't get too tired. So it would generally take, 600 mile off their run, which is a long way on horseback. And I think the horses appreciated, as did the soon-to-be soldiers.
Yes, exactly.
It's our homeland, our own land, to cherish for eternity. Here in Australia, the land of the free. God bless Australia, God bless Australia, home of the Anzacs, the strong and the...
And we're here at Swanbank train station. Tracy, it's been a great day here today. Can you tell me, how did you get involved with the light horse?
We breed Australian Whaler horses, and it just became something that we realised that a lot of people were after original light horse gear, saddles, bridles, leggings, etc. And we thought, original horses. So we started riding with the Queensland Mounted Infantry Historical Troop about 10 years ago. And now we ride all of our own whalers that we've either bred or own. Yeah.
Now, the actual whalers, could you tell me a little bit more about them? Were they the main horse, or were there a variety of farming horses that came in across Australia to actually go to war?
Internationally, the horses from Australia back then were known as whalers because they came from the colony of New South Wales. So they were bought by the Indian Army, and they were well sought after horses. They were excellent military horses. They had great feet. They went long distances. They had a little bit of heavy horse mixed in with them. So they were a good all-purpose horse, and for that reason that made them a good military horse. And so, yeah, they were just a good all-round animal.
Can you tell me, out of interest, they're quite a strong, large horse.
Yes.
A lot of them. Do they have any sort of resilience or connection with draft horses?
They do have heavy horse in them, so they've got Clydesdale, Suffolk Punch, so they've got some of the heavy Percheron, heavy breeds in them, but they've also got the lighter breeds, Timor Pony, and they actually come in 4 different types. So you've got pony, heavy, medium, light. We generally prefer the mediums to light. One of the things about whalers is they're not generally known for being particularly tall, and they're a multi-purpose horse, so you want to be able to lean off a gate and open and shut the gate.
Yeah.
Also, not all of us are in our 20s anymore, so you want to be able to get on and off the horse easily.
Yeah.
So generally they are around 15 hands, and they're fairly solid built horses, but again you've got the heavy, medium and light and the pony, so there's a variety in there as well.
We'll meet again, don't know where, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long.
Could you tell me more about how did this idea and this concept come about?
The Pioneer Railway had run a troop train before, and the significance of the 100th anniversary became apparent to us, and we thought we would try to run a bigger event. We applied for a grant to the Anzac Centenary Grants Commission, and we got a grant which enabled us to make it a bigger event, and we knew that one of the key things for us was to try to get the light horse involved. And when we got the light horse involved, they were very keen to actually see their horses travel on the train, which had not happened for many years. And that became a real central focus of the project, and took a lot of our money and effort to get the cattle wagon organised and certified, and then to actually practice getting the horses on and off the cattle wagon. I guess from my point of view as an ex-military person, my real interest in this was making sure that it was about remembrance and not a party. It is a glad day, but it's also about remembering those who died trying to protect our freedoms and our values, and that tied in well with the train we had, which had been used to carry troops in the war, the light horse, and being able to come in and do their load and unload, and the notion that we could probably get some military support from Amberley, which we actually did. So
Yes.
the idea of having a serious memorial sort of took shape, and it went from there, and fortunately we've had pretty good support for it.
You have. I believe that you have highly succeeded, and you should be very proud of this event. It's truly what I believe you're trying to get across is it's not just about the light horse or the train or those things. It is about the journey that the men had throughout
Yes,
the war.
that's right.
And then making their way to peace, which is what we're actually commemorating today. The fact
Yeah.
that they managed to get all that way through that dreadful journey they had to
Yes,
travel
yes.
in the war every day.
Yeah.
And then this is what you're commemorating. You know,
Yes,
that's the
that's
actual
right.
heart of this commemoration.
That's really what it was about, because this day, Anzac Day and Remembrance Day, should have a specific significance for all Australians, and particularly young Australians, I think, for young people to see what happened today, the ceremony that actually goes around formally remembering those who gave their lives for our freedoms, is important to carry forward, and we hope that the event today did that.
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary.